everyone, and welcome to the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, show made for the fans by a fan. I'm your host, as always, Richard Tiemann. This is the award-winning Fan Show. Thank you for tuning in. It is Tuesday, and that means it is our recap day, a recap of a busy week. We had week 2 of the IFL and week number 4 of the AAF. Both did not disappoint. In fact, as far as my predictions go for the AAF, I was 1-3. That hurt. That sucked. I thought these picks this week were a lock. And there was not 1, not 2, but 3 upsets when I said I don't think an upset at all is going to happen this week. And that hurt. I felt that one deep right here. But we will talk about that more in the headlines, as well as all the IFL Week 2 action. There is a new top 10 that will be coming out tonight, so you will want to watch for that. I'm sorry that it wasn't last night, but some of you may recall there was an issue with the feed for the Tucson-San Diego game, and let's just put that behind us, okay? Because that was something else. Oh, boy. Anyway, I have 10 plays. I feel like I have the 10 that have stood out the most. The order, I might go back through and change a bit because, as I said earlier this week in a post, your top 3 are easy. Your top 3, it's like, that was really good. Wow, that was really good too. And yeah, that's pretty good. It's 4 through 10 that are tough because they're all great plays. But how do you dignify what didn't make the top 3 and what was less amazing than the one, before it? It's a tough gig, which is why I'm realizing I haven't done it before. But all I have to do really is just the voiceover, so we will do that after the show. But coming up on the show, going to talk about that. We have Iowa Barnstormers' own Connor Hollenbeck. He will join us. They had their first outing of the season on the road against Quad City. And your outstanding Defensive Player of the Week for Week 2, Keith Jones Jr. So we got a double dip, 2 for Tuesday. It's going to be an exciting fan show, so let's go ahead. Let's do our part to get into this episode full bore with today's headlines. Headlines, of course, brought to you by Dynamite Enterprises, who want to customize your world. Maybe it's a mug that you want your artwork on. Maybe this is what you want your artwork on. They can do that. I've seen them do it. Banners, tablecloths, backdrops, drop and repeats as they call them, t-shirts, hats, beanies. I'm not wearing either right now, and business cards, coasters, koozies. They do koozies as well. So really, anything that you could think of that you may want for marketing purposes, for your business to help grow, for some merchandise, they can do it. All you got to do is hit them up. Go and check out what they offer, because they offer a lot more on the website than I've listed here. That list is very long. DynamiteEnterprises.com. If you know what you want and you want to get a quote, then simply reach out to Ethan directly, Ethan@DynamiteEnterprises.com. That's good. Not even coffee. Yeah, it's water. You get to that moment in the week where there's you think you're forgetting something. Me, it was dishes. So we're all out of water glasses, so I'm drinking water out of a coffee mug. Yay me. Let's check out the comments. Hello, Antonio. Hello, Adam. Joining me on Facebook Live. And Markel Willis. Yeah, what's up, my man? All is well. I miss you, bro. I miss you. Miss seeing you out there. But your Blizzard looked good, and we're going to talk about that. So let's go. Let's get to it, shall we? The IFL Week 2 did not disappoint. There were some games that were a bit more one-sided than the other, but did I not call it? I said last week on Thursday when we were previewing the week, I said that there were 3 games that people were going to be very much invested in. Quad City versus Iowa, a rivalry renewed. Barnstormers taking their first action of the 2019 season after taking week 1 off. And then, of course, we had the debut of the Tucson Sugar Skulls, also on the road against the other expansion team, the San Diego Strike Force. And then we were going to see how Arizona was going to do at home against the rebranded Cedar Rapids team, the now River Kings. But the one game I said that people probably weren't going to think twice about, but would be the best as far as indoor football goes, was the Nebraska Danger and the Green Bay Blizzard. Now, granted, there were mistakes, and I got called out on this. Ty Knight said, hey, man, there was some sloppy play. There was. But if you remember last year, Green Bay was that one team that could play amazing football for 3 quarters. And that fourth one, it's like it all fell apart. And then we saw last week, it was the second half, quarters 3 and 4, where it seemed like it all fell apart against Arizona, who's a juggernaut right now, by the way. But Green Bay was that team that you knew that if they could piece it together all 4 quarters, play 60 minutes of fundamental football, capitalize on the opposing team's mistakes as well as limit their own and make corrections to their own mistakes, they could win and they could be a team to be reckoned with, and they were. I mean, it was an amazing game for a fan of the league, the football of these teams. And I'm just so happy that it turned out the way that it did. I mean, really, 52-53 is your final, which is why your outstanding special teams player of the week is Cody Barber, because that was a tale of 2 kickers in that game. Nebraska's kicker made a couple, but man, there were some missed opportunities and, as a result, missed points. Cody Barber was perfect. He put 11 points up for his team, 2 for 2 on field goals, 5 for 5 for extra points, and that made a difference. I'm looking at the scores right now, 52-53. You can't tell me that having your kicker be perfect isn't important, because it is. That's a 1-point swing, but they had 11 to work with. And that's props to you, Cody Barber. Congratulations on being the Fan Show Week 2 Outstanding Player of the Week. Nigel Stevens, hello. Good to see you. Don Frost, appreciate it. Markel is commenting again. Coach Roberson has earned his opportunity to lead a team. Small sample size, but I think he's got that program moving in the right direction. Couldn't agree more. Could not agree more. I think this Green Bay team, especially defensively, I mean, when they needed it, and you may or may not see one of these plays in the top 10 tonight, when they needed a turnover, when they needed a stop, game-sealing interception. And it wasn't even last week's outstanding defensive player of the week. It was one of the third guys, one of the other guys on their defense. Their defensive backs are great. Their defense as a whole is great. I'm very excited for this Green Bay Blizzard team because I think, 1, it's a long time coming, and 2, the fans deserve it. Just like Iowa last year. You guys, it's not a matter of I side with a team because of this or that or the other. I know all you guys. I know so many of you, and I'm so happy when you guys do well. That's what brings it in for me. It really does. Let's see here. Would you say it was a close shave by Barber? Yes, I would. Cody Barber, though, does not take enough credit. Really, he doesn't. We were texting last night. I said, hey, check your Facebook. And then he saw, and I told him that he was in the conversation, which these conversations I have with my wife. I asked for her opinion because she's going to be that knee-jerk reaction difference left or right on what it should be. I asked for her input on the top 10, the outstanding player. I mean, there were 3 guys on offense for that outstanding offensive player, and that was the toughest decision of the week. But it came down to Jabre Lawley, your Week 2 outstanding offensive player of the week. Very well deserved because he does it no matter what. He is a juggernaut through the air, as a receiver, on the ground, as a runner. And he's not even a quarterback, but he puts up quarterback numbers. It's just everything except for passing, right? But 4 touchdowns rushing, 2 touchdowns receiving, and just a mess of yards altogether. So that was very well deserved, I thought, as well. And then, of course, we had Quad City and Iowa. It was a close game at first, and then I don't know what happened in that second half, 53-39. I mean, as far as indoor and arena scores go, that's closer than some. It's closer than 81-37. But, Cedar Rapids, I'm sure, will find its footing. Sucky teams can't suck forever, and I don't even think that Cedar Rapids necessarily sucks. Their kicker, though, Henry Nell, my goodness, 50-yard banger. That was amazing. That was your kickers need love too moment of week 2, and that was without a doubt. I don't think there's a single kicker or player in the IFL that would disagree with that. And so there's good things that you're seeing early on in the IFL, and that's the important thing. This weekend, Iowa returns home. They raise the banner drop, whatever the hell you want to call it. And that's going to be a fun game because they host Green Bay. I mean, before the season started, you probably saw that matchup and be like, yeah, it's like when you got a homecoming game for your high school or college and you're picking the team that you think is an easy win. That's no longer the case. Like, this could be a very competitive game. And I'm not going to call spoiler or upset yet, but I think it's going to be a fun time for both sides consider. I hope to see a lot of the Green Bay fans make the trip. I hope they do. I know that the winter's been terrible over in the Midwest, but I will see you guys, some of you Friday and all of you Saturday. So very excited for that, which we'll talk more about Thursday. But your outstanding players of the week. Special teams, Cody Barber. Congrats, my man. Defensively, Keith Jones Jr. deserved it. The man got a touchdown, which you'll hear a fun fact about that in our conversation later on. And then Jabari Lawley, this dude could be the MVP of the league if Arizona does what everybody apparently thinks Arizona is doing, which is being dominant and unstoppable. And it's funny because when Connor and I talked, we mentioned that and talked about Iowa and how it's like they won the championship last year. Arizona wasn't even in it. And now Arizona has won a championship in the IFL. They were a dynasty in the AFL. But how quickly we forget, after 2 weeks of football, only one sample from one team. It's just, it really blows my mind. It's one of the things I love and hate, that I love to hate as the host of the F.A.N. show. So we will get a little bit more in that. So that's your Week 2 recap. Like I said, competitive ball. Cedar Rapids at Arizona, 37-81. That one got ugly. Tucson, first win is their debut, their first win in franchise history. Hell of an outing against San Diego, who I think is going to do all right. They look like they're getting better. 65-44 was your final there. And that will do it for Week 2. We'll talk about Week 3 coming up. Thursday, we will have a full episode, and it looks like Joe Stacy is going to join me, which always an honor and a privilege to have that man on the show. But while we transition from this over to the rest of the headlines, your thoughts, Week 2 IFL, if you're in the chat right now on Facebook Live or the chat on Spreaker.com, go ahead and give me your comments. Adam, Tony, Antonio, Markel, Cody, Jason, you guys, thoughts on Week 2. The AAF had its Week 4, and like I said, I went 1 for 3. This was ugly. 2 teams are no longer winless, but only one is undefeated. And then there was one. The Orlando Apollos. I told you guys this is the team to beat. This is the standard of AAF football, for whatever it's worth, whatever that means. They are head and shoulders above the rest, bar none, the best team in the league. They get it done week in and week out. And I do want to pose this question to you guys out there that maybe have done coaching, that are coaches. We see the Apollos at 4-0. They're playing great football. But who in the league is doing the job that the AAF is supposed to do and developing the most talent? What changes have you seen week in and week out that makes you believe that this team, despite its record, which it could be the Apollos, but despite its record, if maybe it's one of the teams that just got a win this last week, which team is developing the most talent? Who do you see making the most strides to get better each week? Who do you see making adjustments, not in pursuit of a championship, but in pursuit of getting them into the NFL, or at least a look at the NFL? Because that's the thing that we lose sight of when we talk about the AFL, the IFL, and the NAL, is that there is a championship at the end of that season. Go for it. Get it. Win it. Do what you can. But there is also the developmental aspect of it. Those guys are there to get film, to get reps, to get to that next level. And if they get a championship while they're doing it, then that's the cherry on top. Who develops the most talent? Adam says, Iowa Quad City was a decent matchup as well, but that Nebraska-Green Bay game, man, indeed, a cigarette after that. That is so great. Adam has the best comments on here sometimes. I swear he really does. So your final scores from week 4 of the AAF was the San Diego Fleet, which I thought was a team on the rise. They had won back-to-back games, including a redemption against the Commanders from the week 1, but they lose to the Memphis Express by 3 points. Now, I don't know what Memphis has done differently, but they had not won a single game, and it didn't look like that win was going to happen anytime soon. They were a team that should be in the win column by now. You look at the coaching, you look at the players, the talent. They're a team that should have been in that win column already, but this is their first win of the season. Well-deserved. I don't know what happened with San Diego. Maybe they had an off day. I haven't seen a lot of film. It was one of the games I happened to miss. Orlando and Salt Lake, though, lower scoring game for both teams. It was a snowy game. It was one of your ideal February games, or March games, I guess, now, if we're going to talk about that. But Orlando gets it done again. I don't know if Salt Lake stalled offensively or if the defense of Orlando was just too good, but clearly Orlando is just able to get it done each week. Until further notice, the Orlando Apollos are the best team in the AAF, and you can't even argue that with me. You can't. The Iron and the Commanders, man, the Iron had such a great defense. Low score again, 12-11, but I wonder if their lack of having sort of an offensive identity has led to this, I would call it an upset. They were the only other undefeated team. They're 3-1 now because the Commanders have made it 2-2. They're back in the win column after losing 2, which is great for them, but you wonder what happened with the Iron. Did they stray away from the run game because that is what had worked so well for them? Did they control the clock, or did the clock control them? Then finally, the Atlanta Legends, who I never thought were going to see the win column anytime soon. They are in the win column over the Hot Shots, who I said were kind of a team that was a bit of smoke and mirrors, and that may be what's happening with them right now. 14-11, another low-scoring game. So this is the part where I need to ask again, who is developing the most talent in the AAF? Because these are not NFL scores. These are scores that you would see for teams that are developing talent. Am I wrong or am I right? Your thoughts on the AAF week number 4, and then the last headlines we've got here, the NGL, the National Gridiron League. Will it happen? Will it not? Look, my whole thoughts is that I know guys that are signed to teams in this league. They say it's happening. I see posts from the league page on Facebook that say it's happening. I see posts from guys and sites that try to do what I do, saying otherwise. And it's like that scene in Billy Madison where he's going to get on the bus and Chris Farley stops him and he's just like, yeah, me and her. You know, he's like, no, you didn't. No, not me personally, but a buddy of mine, he, no, he didn't. No, he didn't. But you could imagine. Like, that's what I see when I read these from these other sites and groups that are claiming things. Now, I could be totally in the wrong here. The NGL could fold tomorrow. But the people that I've talked to, the posts that I've seen directly from the source, are saying that it's going to happen. So I don't know what to think. But I will reiterate this. It's what I told Kenneth Van Huel when he was talking to me about the American Patriot League. I said, the what? Because my rule, and I tell players this all the time, if I haven't heard of the league or of the team, chances are it's probably not a solid foundation. Chances are it's probably not a good thing, because I hear about a lot of stuff that goes on within the world of football, indoor football, arena football, whatever, and these semi-pro teams or minor league teams, whatever you want to call them, if I haven't heard about them, and this is news to me, take it for what it's worth. Whatever you feel it's worth, take it for what it's worth. But that's my thoughts on it. Let's see. Adam says, I'd go with Memphis. They made the biggest change that a team could. They changed their starting QB. That's a start, right? And that's what I heard was the biggest missing piece. I don't know how it took Mettenberger so long to get in there, finally under center. Speaking of quarterbacks, though, the starter for San Diego has been sidelined for an extended period of time. So the guy that was starting week 1, I forget how to pronounce his name, he will be back in now. Hey, Joe Stacy, I see you. Nigel Stevens said, have you read the article for the SD Strike Force about the head coach downing the organization and the players? I haven't seen that article specifically, but I have read Connor Ferguson from Last Word on Sports about his reaction to hearing what Coach what Bert said. And if they're true, man, the phrase "you can't fix stupid" comes to mind, and I apologize to the organization if they hear this, but it's like, what do you want me to say about a guy who has been heard quote saying that he's not surprised that they don't have fans, that they don't have a fan base, that nobody really cares if they win or lose, that these guys on his team think that they're NFL caliber, and they're not. They say one thing, but the film says something else, which, okay, I've heard coaches say that. They get a lot of guys blowing up their inbox, their messenger, their email, whatever, saying, yeah, I'm your guy, I'm ready, which it's great to speak confidently. I should know. Like, what have I done pre the fan show that speaks for my body of work? But you do have to have something to support your claims, do you not? You have to be able to, if you say, I'm the best DB you're ever going to find, you got to have the film that backs it up, because these coaches do their homework. They do their research, and anybody that wants to do their research on me, I welcome you. I welcome it. Please, by all means, check out the Facebook page, the Twitter, the Instagram, anything you want to do. Look at my body of work, and I will not tell you that I'm the best, but I am damn well aiming to be the best. And I feel that my work and my progress has supported that. It's the same thing. It's a universal thing. If you feel that you're the best at what you do, there needs to be something to support it. So there are coaches that will say that, this guy says he is this, but upon looking into it, we didn't see the same thing. But they don't go out and get quoted saying that. Like, it's week 2 in the IFL, going into week 3, and this is the headlines for San Diego on an 0-2 record with, 300 in attendance, give or take, like the actual butts in seats number, not the amount of tickets distributed, which is a thing people don't realize. Could be a long season for SD. I don't know what this means. Adam says, let's see, I'd also say the old ball coach Steve Spurrier is making waves. I think he's a good coach. I've never thought he was a bad one. I think he's a perfect fit for Orlando. And if he's developing talent while winning, that is going to be a destination team if you're a player. Like, if you have a choice between Atlanta and Orlando, based on what I've seen right now, you're going to pick Orlando, plain and simple. So props to them. BattleBots, tickets are sold out for the weekend shows. You will have to get your tickets if you want to see them live, which I highly recommend it, for the weekday shows. I don't know when I'll be back down there for this season. Hopefully it's for a good chunk of it. I'd like to stay for the championship, but I have to wait to hear back from some people. So if you know anyone that would like to sponsor that particular trip, please have them reach out to me. Eric Weddle was released by the Ravens, which surprises me. He's kind of like the Brandon Marshall of defensive backs. I don't know why he can't find a home. He was with the Chargers for a very long time, granted, but since then he's kind of bounced around. Nick Foles is an unrestricted free agent, and it looks like he's going to land with the Jags. So the question is no longer will the Jags win a Super Bowl. The question is how many Super Bowls will the Jaguars win? That's my feelings about it. I'm sorry, that's my joke for the day, and it's a bad one. But what do you do? Your comments, your thoughts. Nick Foles and the Jaguars, perfect fit. The missing piece. What do we think about that? Also, I saw that the notable non-tagged free agents, Le'Veon Bell, Landon Collins, Nick Foles, Trey Flowers, Steven Gostkowski. That was a bit of a shocker. And C.J. Mosley, tagged. Frank Clark, Jadeveon Clowney, although it's a non-exclusive. D. Ford, Robbie Gould, Grady Jarrett, and DeMarcus Lawrence. So that's your kind of NFL right now. DK Metcalf, shock and awed people at the Combine, but it's just the Combine. We've seen track-like stars go out there and not be able to play football. It's nothing new. I'm not going to doubt the kid, but I think that there is a spoonful of criticism, hesitation is worthy right now. But that about sums it up for our headlines. So we're going to go ahead and play the conversation between myself and Mr. Connor Hollenbeck, and then, of course, Keith Jones Jr. So if you're watching me on Facebook Live, now's the time to click the link for Spreaker.com. Hop over and listen to those. And, of course, if you can't listen live, please subscribe to iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, and, of course, Spreaker.com. So last thing, Adam says, Orlando also is close to Disney World. Atlanta, well, they have the Braves. It's a magical place. Orlando is just the destination in general. You have a winning football team, and that's for the football fan, comic book nerd, and fan of Disney movies. That's like your heaven away from heaven. Nigel Stevens said, little hint on who got number 1 of the IFL top 10 plays. A hint. I don't know if I can hint because I'm stuck between two. They're very similar plays. I feel that one looks better than the other, but one also may have been harder than the other. But I will say Quad City has found its way into the top 3 again. You guys are doing something special with your talent up there in QC, the land of the steam wheelers. So props to that. So there's your spoiler. There's your hint. Leave me alone. I got work to do. But we do have a conversation with Connor Hollenbeck happening right now. Enjoy our conversation. All right, ladies and gentlemen, joining me now as we look back at Week 2 in the IFL is one of the newest members of the Iowa Barnstormers who made quick work of standing out on that high-powered offense. Connor Hollenbeck, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I'm doing good, man. This is my favorite time of the year. It really is. To get to know so many of you guys and to cheer you on from either at the arena in person or from home and watch you guys not only have fun but make strides to get to that next level. It's a real joy for me, and I'm glad that you found a home that sounds like you like it there in Des Moines, Iowa.
Yeah, I mean, this is my favorite time of the year, too, and I finally found a place, that I really enjoy and, I feel really comfortable at. So I really believe it's going to be a great year for me and for the team in general.
Yeah, you guys made your season debut on the road. Not an easy task against Quad City, who came off a great win in their home opener. This was another home game for them. Their crowd, though, and I'll just ask you because I'm only, I haven't been to Quad City yet personally, but obviously I've been to Iowa, Arizona, Nebraska, Green Bay, so I've got a good pulse for what fan bases show up and make a difference. And in my opinion, it seems like Quad City's got a hell of a crowd.
Yeah, it was a great place to play. And, it seems like they fit perfectly with the other teams in the IFL. Basically they didn't skip a beat. And, they very professional, great atmosphere there, lots of fans. So it's really great to see that. And I kind of knew that they had a good fan base just from watching them in the CIF, because I knew that they were going to make this transition. So I kind of checked them out, and I knew it was going to be a great place to play, and it turned out well.
Which is awesome because, crowds are one of the things that are so important to teams, both home and away, is that you want to, even if you're the team being booed, you want to hear loud boos, right? Because that fuels you up. That kicks you into fifth gear. And some places you just don't have that. So I'm glad that Quad City represents, and they represent well. And now that you guys had a week off to kind of kick back and relax, which, I feel like is kind of a perk that you should have gotten as champions, whether or not it's how the schedule happened to play out. But then you go on the road, and now you're going to come home. And you're home against Green Bay, who, they took one on the chin in Week 1 against Arizona, which we'll talk about in a minute. But they had definitely an outstanding performance, played 4 quarters of tough football, and got the win against a Nebraska team that looks like it's going to be a contender as well. But you guys will raise the banner. Your thoughts on the home opener coming up this Saturday?
That adds fuel to, why I'm here, because seeing what they accomplished last year, and, I obviously wasn't in Iowa last year, so just seeing what I could accomplish being here, I want to get a championship. I want to be able to raise the next banner. That just makes this whole year more special.
I could imagine so, and I'm sure that you've seen plenty of guys with their rings, and you're just like, man, like I want one. Like I know Joe Stacy, your guys' voice, so well, and I know that he has one, and I'm just like, man, if you can get one for broadcasting, like, damn, like that's my ticket to hardware right there.
Yeah, he does a great job, and I think a lot can happen in the future. You never know.
Yeah, it's going to be quite the season. Not quite doubled from last year, but you went from 6 to 10 teams in the league, which I think is a great number for this level of football. I really do. I think 12 is probably the most you'd want to have, but with how much turnover we see, if you can have 10 competitive teams each year, I think that that's a formula for success, at least for the fans anyway, because they get tired of seeing the same matchups over and over and not sure if their team is going to even play the next season. But it looks like you've got 10 good teams, 2 that have come over from another league, Quad City, who you played last week, Bismarck, and then 2 expansion teams, San Diego and Tucson. Tucson got a win, but Arizona, 2-0, and they made it look easy against your former, the Cedar Rapids, now River Kings. And the word through the grapevine and the buzz around the league right now is that no one can stop Arizona. What do you think about that, being a new member of the Barnstormers, who are the defending champions?
Well, I knew Arizona was going to, play with an extra chip on their shoulder this year. I knew they weren't going to, every year they don't take any season lightly. So, them not winning a championship last year, I'm sure, they're really focusing on that, and, they're playing really good football like they normally do. But, we don't get to play them during the regular season, which is fine. I would like to go and play them and have them come here, especially being that Iowa beat them 3 times last year, every time they played them. So, I'm looking forward to seeing them in the playoffs and seeing what, that's going to be all about, the playoffs and after that.
Yeah, I think this season, and what's funny is that people are already making these assumptions, and it's only week 2. And I'm like, how much football there is left to play in the indoor football league right now? Like, it's crazy. But, people are going to be people, and I have my power rankings that will come out tomorrow night or tomorrow sometime during the day. And I've got my new top 10 tonight, which I wanted to let you know. You are not in the top 10 today, but I did see your touchdown, and I loved the call on the touchdown, at least from my perspective. It was like, can you be any more open than that?
Yeah,
I think was the call. So, hey, congrats on that, man. I loved it to see you making an impact out there. Ryan Ballantyne, I felt that was very fitting for him to get the first touchdown of the season for the Barnstormers. And you guys have Samuel Charles. Like, everybody's talking about Arizona and their high-powered offense. It's like, if Iowa starts to click, it's going to be scary.
Yeah, I mean, we put it together and scored every drive. So,
yes,
as long as we keep that up and score every drive, it's going to be tough for other teams to beat us. So that's our main goal is, the whole offense and everyone came together and we're like, yeah, we're scoring every drive, bottom line.
Now, a lot of people thought they were going to see Drew Powell again under center. It is Neal, and he impressed. I got to say, I was very impressed with his first outing. Has a lot of help from you guys, but, man, I think he threw for 5 touchdowns, rushed for 1, and had almost 200 combined yards. But, man, that was crazy to see, and he was definitely in the conversation for outstanding player of the week. I just feel like Lawley for Arizona has been outstanding back-to-back weeks, and that's hard to do in this league. But your thoughts on QB Neal and how he's done for you guys in replacing Drew Powell?
Yeah, always being on a new team and having new players, new quarterback, you kind of get through camp and you kind of get a feel for one another, and then you never really know going into that first game. That's when everyone goes to prove themselves why they're here, and that's when you really get to see someone's true character is within that first game, and he absolutely killed it. He had that he held his composure the whole time, and he just dominated when he was in there, and he went 10 for 11, I believe. So,
Yeah, it was something crazy. It was not an easy decision on the offensive side for me to pick my outstanding player, but I can tell that there's going to be several Barnstormers that are in the conversation each week, and you're probably going to be one of them. What's it like when you get on a new team and then you have a new quarterback? Like, is it to develop that relationship, to build that rapport? Is it something that you have to sort of, take each other off to the side of the field and have a talk? Or is it that you just go and you run the routes as best you can to try to make their job easier?
Oh yeah, it's definitely a tough thing to do. But we rep things so much, we get used to it. And, after every route I run, I'll go back to him and be like, hey, what do you want me to do? What do you want to see? Did I do that all right? And, we give each other constructive criticism, and, that makes us both better. So, and it takes a while, so a couple more weeks, a couple more practices, and a couple more games, and we should really be, on the same page. And I think that's what it takes, is all the hard work and dedication and, talking to each other.
Yeah, which you're definitely up for the hard work. You're a workhorse, man, I swear. I don't know how you get any sleep at all, because it seems like every time I talk to you, you're doing something. You're either at the gym or you're at practice, or you're doing something for the betterment of yourself and, of course, your team as a result. What keeps you motivated each season?
Getting to the highest levels. I want to get to the NFL. I want to get to the CFL. I want to make, the money. That's, being supported financially. That's a really big goal of mine. And then proving people wrong. I've had to prove people wrong my whole life. So I think that's the biggest chip that's on my shoulder. So, I go into every camp, even though, I could be the starter at the end of camp, I go in there as like I'm a rookie every year. So that's how I keep my mindset the way it is, and the work ethic I have is, I go in there having to prove myself. So should you be in the AAF right now? I don't think I would have to say I am not on that level yet. I'm working here. I got to dominate where I'm at first. So if I'm not dominating every category in this league, then, I don't think I'm ready for the next one. So, at the end of this year, we'll see how I did and how my team did. Right now I'm focusing on winning a championship. That's step one. That's going to get us noticed and get me, my name out there more. And then, focusing on my craft and running routes and stuff like that, obviously. So I think I need some, a little bit more experience, and we'll see where that takes me.
Well, you are well on your way to becoming a master of your craft, and I love your just the little things that you do. When you and I spoke on Facebook a while back, you were just like, I was taking a look at some of the records in the record book, and I think I could break this one and this one.
Yep, so, you got to do something to stand out and dominate. So, I'll go in and look at that record book and see what record I can break.
Yeah, man, you and I have very similar mindsets. I mean, you want to help your brand, your team to success, but you also want to be the best you that you can be, and that's what I do. I want to be the best me I can be, and help guys like you get noticed, and get some more info out to the fans and anyone else listening and watching. So hopefully we continue to stride for greatness, and it's going to be a long season, but I'm sure we'll probably talk to you several times. I will see you Saturday, though, for the raising of the banner, and I think it's going to be a hell of a game. I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, I'm looking really forward to that. So looking forward to seeing you and the fan show and all the banner raise and everything that's going to be going on. It's going to be exciting, and that's what, I'm shooting for. Hopefully we can do that again next year.
Yeah, and I don't fly out till Sunday night, so hopefully we can all get together after the game Saturday night and have a good time before I come back to cold Spokane, even though I hear it's only like 32 degrees in Des Moines.
Yeah, we've had about a foot of snow since I've been here, so nothing I'm not used to, but it's also very cold here.
All right, fair enough. Well, he is Connor Hollenbeck, making big splashes in the IFL for the Iowa Barnstormers, and they will raise their banner this Saturday. Connor, thank you as always for taking the time, man. Always appreciated.
Thank you. I'll see you this weekend.
All right, see you then.
Bye.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, joining me now, he is one of the newest members of the expansion Tucson Sugar Skulls and our outstanding defensive player of the week, Keith Jones Jr. Welcome back, Mr. Jones. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Just got back home, actually.
Yeah, it was quite the weekend for you guys. I know the YouTube feed had some issues, but obviously you guys went out there and took care of business, had a strong defensive showing. Obviously, you got a couple of solo tackles, a sack, you even got a touchdown. And I want to know, was that your first touchdown on defense?
Oh, yeah, it's my first touchdown on IFL.
Oh, wow.
First one.
Wow, congratulations, my man. Did you even, I didn't see the video because I think it was before they got the YouTube feed up. Did you do a dance? Did you have a dance ready, prepared?
Yeah, you know I had to pull out the signature dance I was doing all last year.
That's
awesome. I think I
awesome.
need to go ahead and get that tagged.
That's awesome, man. Well, hey, congrats again. Really happy for you. It was a tough decision. There was actually it came down to you and Mr. D. Magit because he had quite a day defensively as well. And I know both you guys really well, but of course it's not every day a defensive lineman gets to score a touchdown. And of course that's not always going to be the deciding factor, but you still had a hell of a performance to help get your team to their first victory in franchise history. So congratulations again.
Appreciate it, Rich.
Yeah, man. So you went from Iowa to Tucson, one championship team to hopefully taking another team to the championship. Of course, that's a tall task, but it seems like everything I learn about Tucson is everything is being done right. Of course, it is owned by Coach Kevin Guy, and that is a man who only surrounds himself with the absolute best. So the CU, I know that there's Mr. Metz, and then, of course, Coach Coleman, all of those guys there. And then you guys got yourselves a couple of QBs. Matt Barrett came out of retirement, and Jake Medlock. So what's your feelings about Tucson after your first performance?
I mean, I feel good about Tucson. It's a great environment. We have a great fan base that I know of so far as like our appearances and events that we have done. You know, this week is our first home game, so we'll be able to see everybody this week. But I feel good about the team. The camaraderie throughout the team is good. We got to review the film today, so we're seeing exactly what we were doing wrong and what needs to be fixed this week. And everybody understood exactly what they were doing wrong. So, I mean, I see some big things coming out of Tucson.
Yeah, I agree with you there. It's, they say expansion like it's supposed to mean, not good. But in all honesty, like if you have experience at the positions that it matters, and if you have a game plan and you put your ducks in a row early on and get things locked down, there's no reason you can't have success, as you guys are proving out there against the other expansion team that fell to 0-2, the San Diego Strike Force, a tale of two very different new teams in the league as far as brand new. Of course, we do have the Bismarck Bucks and the Quad City Steamwheelers that hopped over. I know that you know Quad City well, but yeah, you guys have your first home game against Bismarck. Speaking of new kids on the block, and you guys will debut on a Sunday. How do you feel about your first home game? Does it sound like it's going to be packed? It seems like Arizona does love its football.
Man, I'm telling you, Rich, we're so excited for the first home game. I mean, I'm just ready for it to be Sunday already. I mean, I know we got practice, long week of practice and everything, and game plan, but I'm just ready for Sunday, walking to TCC and just look around and see all the fans cheering, swinging the towels, going out. I just know it's going to be fun. I know it's going to be an exciting time.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I think it's going to be a lot of fun for you guys. Now, I don't know how much of this you know or if you've heard it all, but obviously, there was some talk early on in the offseason about Coach Guy coaching a team and owning a team, but it seems like he'll do a lot of the press, but when it comes to the actual game day operations, he is strictly owner Kevin guy and not anything else. And I feel like that's the appropriate way to handle it. But I want to know if he had any input in, because the Rattlers, they're such a big production, right? They've got the local TV deal. They've got the cannon that goes off during the touchdown. They've got the pyro for the entrance. I want to know if he said, so Tucson needs to have this, this, and this, but it can't be bigger or better than the Rattlers. I mean, they can have it, but it can't outdo us.
Well, I'm going to tell you one thing. I don't know exactly what we'll have on Sunday, but I know what we got so far. And then, I don't know exactly what the Rattlers have, but I know we up there in competition with as far as uniforms, the way we live, things of that nature. It's all being done the right way. Like, so when Kevin God steps away and goes back to Phoenix when he's done doing stuff here, he has the right people in place to keep the train rolling. So it's never like an issue of how things are ran because things are ran so smoothly. If we need anything, we go straight to Mike Spader, who is one of our executive directors, and he makes sure everything is taken care of, regardless of what we're eating for the day or if we have any problems with the apartment, anything of that nature. He makes sure that everything's done in a timely fashion.
That's great to hear, man. I'm glad you're being taken care of because that's the most important thing in my mind is that, the fans get to enjoy the game and the production is what it is, but all that matters is that final score. But for you guys personally, as long as you're being taken care of, there's no reason why you guys can't perform well. I know that you're a man of the fans, and there's some people in Iowa. They're going to be missing you this season, especially when you guys play each other. But I'll be there this weekend for the Raising the Banner, which you helped attribute to. But you're in Tucson. Do you have ties in Tucson? Like, it's not easy to pull a guy from a championship team to an expansion team of all things.
Yeah, I understand that. Sometimes you feel like you've done everything you've done so far in one place, and you feel like I won a championship there. I was all IFL there. Yeah, so it's kind of a wrap after that. I know people want the legacy of having multiple championships, but I've done what all I have to do. So it was time for me to branch out and expand some more. You're trying to get the gist of that.
Yeah, man, I understand. You do what you got to do, and put you as number one. What would it mean to you if you were able to take this team to a championship its first year?
Man, it would mean so much because I know I'm not alone with it. Along with me from Iowa, Zach Allen came down, which is my boy. We were roommates in Iowa. We're roommates now. And so, it would mean so much just because the city of Tucson loves us. They deserve to have a championship in that city. They deserve to have a team. And it's just going to be great. I'm just excited.
Yeah, I agree with you there. And I saw, Zach Allen's with you. So you guys got a great squad. I'm really impressed with everything. And, your schedule, you guys will host Bismarck, which I don't know what adjustments they've made, but they had, a week off now. And you guys were able to sit back, kind of relax and enjoy week one and see what the rest of the competition was like. And then as the season goes on, of course, you're going to have your clash with none other than the Arizona Rattlers, and that comes up after your home game. So you're home, and then you're right back on the road again. Is this a rivalry that we should be prepared for?
Oh, definitely, because first off, you got Kevin guys that has ties to both teams, both organizations. So off the rip, it's going to be just so much, drama going into the game. Like the game may exceed the fans' expectations of how good the game will be, just because of the ties they go into it, the people that's around it, the mini rivalry that we started between Arizona and Tucson. Like it's just I don't know how to put it into words because that's how excited we are for this weekend, as well as playing our soon-to-be rivals.
Yeah, man. I think this is going to be a rivalry that, if all things go well for you in Tucson, which I don't see why it won't. Like I said, we've talked, you and I now, about how right things are being done, and hopefully it stays that way. But they have made a point to put the people in the positions that they need to so that this team is successful, and then you're doing your part as a player to make sure that the points for you are a little bit more than the points for the opponent. I do see on the schedule that you guys will play Iowa one time, at least from what I'm seeing here, at the end of April, and that will be in Tucson. So you won't get a chance to go back to Iowa during the regular season anyway. But have you thought about, I'm sure you might have seen it on the schedule, but your emotions going into a game like that, regardless of what your respected records are?
Oh, no. I mean, it's just another game to me. I mean, honestly, I don't look too far ahead in the schedule, but I know it's there. So, of course I'm prepared for it. I know it's going to be a tough game, but it's not too much to think about it for me because I take it one game at a time. And every opponent to me is about the same. So it's not – I don't put too much hype around it. We know it'll be hyped up, very much, but I just take it as another game.
Where's your ring right now?
Right now it's sitting in my drawer.
You guys need to either wear those or get really nice display cases for them because there's a few guys I've talked to. I think Kenneth Van Huel, well, he showed me his when I went to Texas, and his was like in his center console of his car, which I'm sure was just there so that he could show me when he picked me up from the airport. But a lot of you guys are just like, oh yeah, it's in like my sock drawer. It's in the top drawer of my nightstand. It's like those things need to be out with like, bright lights, spotlights shining down on them.
Man, so matter of fact, when we had media day the other day, they do like some player intros, and I had it on there, and I include a little thing on my intro. You might get to see it when you come down to a game. I think you'll like it. But it definitely involves the ring, though.
Yeah, I might have to actually do that. It looks like I'm going to, if I do go and see the Rattlers and the Sugar Skulls, it's going to have to be 2 trips because somehow the scheduling gods decided that you guys needed to, if you weren't playing each other, then you weren't playing at home on the same weekend, other than I think one time, but it's the same damn day. Where last year I was able to hop from Iowa to Nebraska, I think on either a Friday and Saturday or a Saturday and a Sunday. But you guys, you'd think that you'd want to try to get as many fans to enjoy both like they do in Iowa with the Barnstormers and the now River Kings, because those fans will go back and forth all day long if they can. And for you guys, you don't have any home games on the same weekend as Arizona unless you're playing at the exact same time.
I think it's a little bit too much more going on down here in Arizona for them to do that.
Fair enough. Well, hey, man, congrats on being our outstanding player of the week. We'll see if the league agrees. But, I'm always looking for something special and something a little different. And I didn't even know that was your first touchdown in the IFL as a defender. So I'm especially honored that your performance stood out to me that much. But, hey, congrats again, and thank you so much for your time.
I appreciate you having me on the show, Rich. I think you got a real good fan base with the fan show now. I'm starting to like it every day now.
Good. We'll see what makes the top 10 tonight, so don't forget to look out for that. But you take care of yourself, man. You stay sharp, you stay focused, and hopefully I'll see you down in Tucson.
You too, buddy. Appreciate it.
All right. Once again, thank you so much to Connor Hollenbeck and Keith Jones Jr. Outstanding, as the quote goes from Airheads. B. Arthur, outstanding. That's what I think of, and that's probably why I named this award what I did, because every time I say it, I think of that. You're outstanding. Defensive Player of the Week for Week 2, Keith Jones Jr. And another congrats to the outstanding Offensive Player of the Week for Week 2, Jabari Lally, and the outstanding Special Teams Player of the Week for Week 2, Cody Barber. Thank you all for tuning in, for listening. It's been a really great episode. Just want to point that out. Those of you joining me in the chat, that was a lot of fun on Facebook Live. You can always join in anytime I'm doing a regularly scheduled episode. Facebook.com/FanShowOfficial, and give it a like. Give some content a share if you would, please. But most of all, enjoy. That's all I ask, is that you enjoy the content. So that's one way you can enjoy. Follow along on Twitter at FanShowOfficial. Follow along on Instagram, The Fan Show. And then, of course, tune in right here every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday on Spreaker.com, or subscribe iTunes, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, and, of course, Spotify. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, remember, it's not official unless it's Fan Show official. Best of luck to you and yours. Go Niners, and it's all fun and games until you butt fumble. Good night, folks.
Do you remember the time that Mark Sanchez ran into his own player's butt? That was funny sports.
Thank you for having me on the show, man. I love the Fan Show.